My name is Inês Silva. I'm one of the co-initiators and the ops leads at the DappCon. And basically, our focus has been around how can we really change the women's health landscape. I will tell you a little bit about the problem, so why we actually decided to take this path, what we are doing, and and maybe ways for you to get involved. So the first one is like what we are saying. So we want to be the leading decentralized community focused on translational women's health research, education, and funding. And everything started because if you are a woman, you probably know that sometimes you go to the doctor and they have no answers for you. Sometimes, a lot of the times, you realize that you are quite alone in sharing some of the issues you have been going through. And you find that weird, right? So every week I have conversations with women, basically all around the world, that tell me, sometimes with tears in their eyes, like how alone they feel because they go to the doctor, basically, they go to the health system, and for some reason, there's like no answer for some of the issues they have. And this is just shows part of the problem, right? So if you look at the NIH budget, a very small percentage goes to women's health funding, and this has many reasons. Part of them is because for the longest time, we look at women as smaller versions of men's bodies, and we thought like, maybe we don't need to study women's specific conditions, we just need to study men in general. But also, this goes beyond like women's specific conditions. So if you look at, for example, cardiovascular disease, 2/3 of the patients are women. Usually, we actually don't know that. But if you look at the clinical trials and a lot of the research done in this space, most of the times women are not either present, or if they are, it's just in a very small percentage. So we know very little about for the cardiovascular disease in women. And for example, if you go to the doctor with a heart attack symptom, if it's a female doctor, your chance of survival increase 70%. So this just shows like the lack of information, the lack of research there is in this space. This is another interesting graph. This is actually focused on longevity. And as you can see, there's like more funding going to pets longevity than reproductive health longevity. And again, just shows like how a lot of the times women are, or women's health research is actually overlooked and underfunded. But and a lot of the times, like of course, like I'm mentioning like the problem, but this is also a big opportunity, right? So the New York Times published this amazing article, I think last year, about menopause and how this is like a $600 billion opportunity. 10% of the women have endometriosis, 10% of the women around the world have PCOS, and there's no solutions. It takes a lot of the times like 7 to 10 years to get a diagnose, and then in the end, they say like, you just have to deal with it. So there's like a big opportunity here. This is a big market. There's a big opportunity here, but for many reasons, we are not seeing the research going into this direction. And then the fact that there's a lack of research means that in the end, like there are like no treatments, no diagnosis, and there's like a big miss there. And that's where we come in, right? So last year, actually here in Berlin, a group of us, we went to Decide Berlin. We came together in a room, and we realized that there's like a lot of areas in research that are overlooked and underfunded, and women's health research is one of the main ones. We realized that maybe using the BioDAO model, where we organize basically as a DAO, as a biotech DAO, and we are able to address some of these these problems, would be a good way for us to do that. So in our DAO, we bring together researchers, women, community in general, funders, advocates, and so on, people that are aligned with our mission of changing the landscape of women's health, and really want to make sure that we basically give more support to research in this field. And in the end, the overall goal is to really make sure that we get more, as I was saying, better diagnosis and better treatments. So what have we done in the last few months? So we started by launching a call for applications for ovarian aging. So we got 50 applications from all around the world, from some of the best universities around the world, and we we look at the submissions, we find like a lot of great research, and we were able to fund the first one, and we have 2 other in pipeline. So basically, what we are doing is using IP NFTs to put on-chain the research agreements that we are doing with universities and research labs around the world. We were also able to raise, and this actually closed last week, we were also able to raise through an auction 360,000 USDC, so basically to direct to our mission. We were also, like right now we have a call for submissions for endometriosis and PCOS. We really already got a lot of applications. We'll be basically evaluating them over the next few months, and then hopefully we'll be able to fund some of them and support this research to one day, hopefully, to get to market. And how we got here. I think part of our mission is, as I was mentioned, not only to support research in women's health space, but also onboard more women into the space. If you go around this conference, you don't see a lot of women here, unfortunately. And what we have been doing is through education, office hours, info sessions, community events in person and online, we have been onboarding a lot of women into the space. And we were super excited to see like their support during our auction, but more than that, their day-to-day support as contributors, as enthusiasts for women's health research and for what we are doing in Web3. We also have like a lot of something that we also have been doing a lot is also basically working with organizations that are already in space. She-Fi, Boys Club, PFF, and other organizations that has as mission onboard women into Web3. And we have been basically also working with them and be a bridge for these organizations to decentralized science, right? Decentralized science is still a quite small and new movement. Fortunately, it's growing quite a lot. There are like more BioDAOs in the space, but not only that, other organizations trying to really focus on some of the challenges of science. And what we are trying to do is like be a bridge to these organizations. It's very interesting to see that a lot of women come to us and say like, I look at the Tina DAO and look at the Tina DAO as the way for them to stay in Web3. There's like some people who are a little bit tired with some of the things that are happening in DeFi, for example, but they are looking at decentralized science and the Tina DAO specifically as a way for them to stay engaged with Web3 and stay interested in basically doing work in this area. We also already published 2 public goods with the help of a Gitcoin grant. So the first reproductive health report focused on ovarian aging that was published last year in December, and the second one that was published this year about endometriosis and PCOS. I think if you look at the branding and like the way we actually communicate at Tina DAO, we try to make sure that it's like very, let's call it consumer friendly, right? So we wanted to make sure that women could look at what we are doing and actually engage and be interested in what we are doing and stay a little bit away of some of the ways Web3 sometimes communicates to this audience because it's not appealing to women. So we wanted to make sure, and we were very inspired actually by fashion and beauty industries that have a very good way of communicating with women, and we wanted to make sure that we could replicate that. So it was very intentional in our case to really create a brand as basically a BioDAO with a strong brand that could appeal to women. We also published our white paper where we share like a little bit more about the problem of women's health research, but also like what's coming next for us, right? So what we want or what our community wants to happen in the next few months and years. We know like this is a multi-year project or a challenge, but I also know that in 10 years, I want the conversations to be different, right? I don't want to be talking about the same problems, the same challenges that women face today. Hopefully, we'll have solved some of them, and we'll be able to focus on specific areas that still probably will need support, but basically those will be different. So far, what we have done is, like, as I was mentioning, like we were able to have like one IP NFT focused on the ovarian aging. We have out of the 50 applications that we got, we have like 6 high caliber projects that went through senior review, and then right now we are basically developing agreements with tech transfer offices or universities. We have 35 active contributors, more than 5,000 members, and we have done, I think we put here 30, but I'm sure it's like more than 30 talks, events. Right now we actually have a series of breakfasts, Athena DAO breakfasts all around the world. I think we had one yesterday in Singapore, 2 days ago we had one in Nigeria, and next week we'll have one in Lisbon and another one in Nairobi. So we really want to make sure that the Athena DAO community is global, and we are engaging men and women that want to join our community. As I was mentioning, we started with ovarian aging. We are now focusing on endometriosis and PCOS. We decided because like women's health is such a big area, we decided to be every quarter to focus on a specific area. We started with ovarian aging, now endometriosis and PCOS, and in the next quarter we'll be focusing on rare cancers. So what we want to make sure is that we are able to bring in the best researchers, the best projects from research projects from around the world. We are able to bring also the best evaluators possible to really make sure that we are able to evaluate the project, but also we add value to the researchers we are working with. As I was mentioning, this is our first IP-NFT with Dr. Mario Cordero, based in Spain, focusing on ovarian aging. We have another 2 coming up. This is from a university in the US, also with a different focus, but also with in the area of ovarian aging. And the last one is another project. This from Singapore, from the Brian Kennedy Lab, one of the leading researchers in this space, and Lu Dong is a PhD student with a very interesting project that we'll be able to fund until the end of the year. In terms of core team, right? So we are 4 people. Some of us with experience with tech transfer or support to entrepreneurs. Some others with experience more like on the branding, fashion, and building consumer goods. And then we have, of course, like Maria and Stefano, like scientists, PhDs with a very deep knowledge on the area of women's health. But of course, our community is bigger than that. We have science contributors, we have legal, Web3, R&D. So we bring a diverse group of people from all around the world, different expertises that are able to add value to the DAO. Our supporters, I won't go through them. But I think most of what I want to make sure is, of course, for us, it's still day 1, right? So we just, even though Athena DAO was launched a year ago, August last year, we have been building this community of people that are engaged and interested in women's health. We know that the opportunity is there not only because of the research project that we are receiving, but also because of the people that want to contribute to our mission. So that has been super, super exciting. But we want to make sure that we can build from here. And also we believe that our focus going forward won't be only focused on supporting research, but also building from there. We are not 100% sure what that will be. Right now, we are actually exploring different ways and engaging different people and experts to really understand where Athena DAO can go from here. But there's we really believe that the world is our oyster, and there's a lot that we can do to support women's health. And as I was mentioning, it's still day 1, so feel free to engage with us, join our Discord, and and now I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Inês. So the floor is open for questions.
Anyone?
Yeah, I just had questions on how do you make it so that research in these normal institutions there's still some selection process. It's not just about getting the funding for it. It's who's allowed to make decisions on what can be researched. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously this whole systemic patriarchy stuff. So how are you making sure that women's health actually gets researched here, besides just the funding aspects?
Yeah. So basically, what we are doing is to really reaching out to research centers all around the world that we know that are focusing in this area, and we are incentivizing them to apply to our to basically our call for submissions. We also make sure that our form for submissions is like it's simple to fill in. It's like very straightforward. We are asking the questions that we really need to know, and then we also make sure that we have a group of people that have a lot of experience, that have no conflicts of interest, and are able to get basically evaluate the research the best way possible. We are not telling them what to research on. Basically, we are just looking around the world and trying to see who is researching on what. Of course, we are doing that with a focus, right? So we started with ovarian aging. We are now focusing on endometriosis and PCOS, so we can close a little bit the scope. But I'm sure, like going forward, there will be other ways for us to do this, right? So I'm sure that going forward, we'll be able to see like what is the white space, how can we make sure that we map the landscape of women's health research, and we are able to see in the white space and being a little bit like and understand like better who can research those white spaces. But right now, what we are trying to do is just make sure that we get to as much researchers as possible from all around the world, and we are able to then go through a process of evaluation of that research.
Someone had a question over here. Okay, so it's been already answered. Anyone else? In that case, thank you once more, Inês.
Thank you very much.